Hi, my friends. Good morning. How is everybody? Oh, who done their stretchings already and workout? Oh, well, I hope you're having great positive day. Okay, so here we have some more updates, for today and for different departments. All right, thank you so much for helping us and bringing all these things, these items to proper handbooks. Please improve what is needed. I really appreciate and have everything ready, okay? All right, see you soon. And when you finish, make sure to give to Andrew for him to edit and print out our work, all our handbooks. Thank you. Hi, my friends. How you doing? So here we have a few more updates for today, okay? For different departments. So here they are. Okay? So please, volunteers, get information and please add to our handbooks. Okay? All right. So thank you so much for your attention, and here they are. Okay, a few more things for our department handbooks. And Andrew gonna improve and edit everything that's needed. All right, thank you. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. Okay, so here we have a few more updates. So it's forbidden to have metal on fingers, and it's also forbidden to have many small earrings on the ear, along the ear, piercings. No, people can only have proper earrings, that they have a few twists to turn, not they're stronger. People just gonna make sure every morning they're properly attached before they leave the house. Okay, not those that are just hung because then they can lose. So we need the proper little hook on the back for these small earrings. Authorized earrings that already show the images of a few examples. One of the very important things that's for the department one is for us to start learning how we can work with the weather, how we can work with the environment. So if it's coming a rain, it's not the end of the day yet. How we can, do in a way with our mind to ask the rain to wait a little bit, right? So people can get home before the rain comes and things like that. How we can do our prayers, our songs, and bring clouds, natural clouds, for the rain to come after planting, for example, after tree planting, big state and national parks. So we have to start working on this way for us to be even better, because that's part of our evolution, to work with nature in a good way, not imposing, but work in a good way, to bring rain, to wait for the rain, to bring warm weather, right? To bring wind. Some people can do that, and we are all going to have some classes on how we can evolve ourselves to work united, to work together with our families, our friends, and make this possible. Okay? So that's part of the department one, and we are going to give some details on how we can do that. So people need to join the 2-year class, and also, on the schools, when we are going to have our curriculum, we're going to give introduction for children and teens on how they can start working on that. And the information will be the same for everyone, okay? For children, parents, so they can start working together at home, and then they can start doing this group work on their community, and other groups can work before they are organized to go to state and national parks, so we can help and don't depend only on water trucks for the irrigation for the new trees that we are going to plant and things like that. Okay? So dogs that need surgery, people that need surgery, okay, they will have them. And I think the time I posted, it's good, right? And we see. I think it's sustainable. So people can really, if it does not need for the person to die, we're avoiding the best as possible for people to really be healthy and capable and survive and go on in life, right? And for the dogs that are closest animal, right? So let's do the best we can. I think that's reasonable. Unless the dog has many problems, then it's something else, can walk and things like that, right? But if they can walk, then it's okay, we can keep them. For the old ones that cannot run anymore, so it's okay because the owners can run at their educational site, or their own residential community and walk their dogs afterwards. As soon as the dogs, no dogs, it's forbidden, dogs to be inside for the whole day. That's already decided. People need to come, people live in apartments, they need to come at lunch break, run, get there to their apartments to have their dogs to go outside, right? To go potty. And for people that live in homes, the dogs can stay outside or inside with the little door, right? For the dog to go out and go potty, right? Or the owners need to go home as well at lunch break because everyone's going to be working really close by. Couples need to go home together. Cannot just go one and leave the other. They need to go together, take care of the dog and come back. Okay, so now for people that have half bodies, if they are good with themselves, they can walk, they're independable, then it's okay. Some people have a half body only, but they do everything. They have their organs, they can go to the bathroom, they can eat, they are functional, they are healthy. So that's okay. That's all right. Now, people that have two heads, they are going to be operated because we're not going to have this anymore in our humanity. That's not good, not positive. So if the doctors can figure out a way to have just one head and one person, then it's okay. For people that have two heads and if surgery is not possible, so they have to go to life renovation program because we're not having this thing. This is not good, not positive, not needed. They're gonna have their praise for 2 or 4 weeks. The family gonna pray for them and try the surgery ahead of time. Be organized and we go from there because we're not having this. This is really not positive for us. Okay. So people with organs from others already gave, right, some information there on how we're gonna do. They can do that, it's a time, and we are taking the surgery rooms out as soon as possible. So for everyone that can have their surgeries made, will be done one after another, very quick, on those hospital rooms that we can stay on until the surgeries are completed and recovered, because some surgeries are large surgeries, like for people who have two heads, for example, right, are large surgeries. I mean, long, extensive surgeries. So they can heal and go home as soon as possible, right? They can heal the hospital. Those big surgeries will be the only exception, but they have to heal because we want to try the best we can now. And people are not going to have bad food anymore, so people will be better without the need of other surgeries. That's what we are working for, and that's what we are going to have. So people from hospice and people from jail that will be going anyways to life penalty, for the reasons I already mentioned, they can go to the hospitals, right, and have their organs donated for what is needed on that county before they go to the life renovation program. Of course, for the person from the jail, need special security guards to make sure that person does not escape. Okay? All right. And for the people that are receiving hearts, because some people say that, the person gonna act the same as the other one, so, but they won't know, right, who is receiving, and the person that is receiving it, the new organ, does not know where it's coming from. So all the information from the previous person is not going to pass on. Where that organ came from, how the person died, none of this information is needed. The person got the organ and we work to be healthy and strong. That's the main objective, okay? And it's very healthy for that organ to be accepted and be healed for life, okay? Now we have a few things for families, right, for children. So it's forbidden for children to lock the door up to 5 years old. So they close the door. So if the door is closed, everyone knows somebody's there. The little child is there, right? I think up to 5 years old, that's reasonable, okay? And only one child at the time. We cannot have an older sibling or a baby in a tub or things like that. If the parent is there bathing a baby and then a 2 or 3 years old come to party, it's okay, but the parent is there with the baby on the tub, for example, okay, but it's only one child at the time. All right, and then 6 years old and older can lock the bathroom, okay, because they're learning how to be independent. But what happens is that they are going to be on a proper time for shower, for everything, even the little ones as well. They have to be on their proper time, the minutes, right? Quick showers, and the day they can do the bath, a few times a week. I think up 2 or 4 times a week, depends how many people in the family, how many bathrooms they have. So that's what the families have to put at the Peace app, how many times each child to be sustainable according to their schedule as well, right? It's a 10-minute shower or 20, 40 minutes bath, and then 2 or 4 times a week. I think that's reasonable for now, right? So it's also mandatory for the parents to keep at their bedrooms the key of the bathroom, the children, teens, just in case something happened. They will have this little thing, right, that will turn, or a proper key, like in the same way I showed you with the yesterday updates for the big lock of the door, the front door. So the bathroom will be the same. We are not going to use the bathroom, these tiny little locks. Okay, so that will be easier for little children, for elders, to use the bathroom in an easier way. So the parents will have the proper, regular, strong key, the same as the front door, and will keep at their bedrooms with a string, about 20 centimeters long, a very strong ribbon, let's say, right? A fabric thing. Very colorful, can be red, orange, yellow, or some bright colors for them to easily see. They will be kept inside the parents' bedroom or with the documents at the living room. Remember, we have the file in the living room for the family documents. Yeah, not in the bedroom, sorry. So the documents, the scissors, these keys, extra keys will be placed at the living room, because at the living room we have the cameras, that's all the family documents will be, that's the place. So this cabinet in some places can be in the living room and some places can be in the kitchen, right? It has a door and has a lock, and the couple will carry that lock with them because that's their documents, right? That's the most important thing they have. Okay, so each apartment, each house, will have in one place or another, but not in the couple's bedroom, as we said before. It's also forbidden for people to have home offices. They need to go to a proper place, You know, they can share computers, they can share people that work in different areas. They have to go to their nearby commercial plaza where they're going to have an office for people that work with different things, right? And if it's authorized, and it's forbidden to have at the house anything related to own business, computers, laptops, anything like that, or paperwork or things like that. They can just have their main documents at this cabinet, the kitchen or living room, but no objects, no food for sale, nothing like that, okay? All right, if they sew clothes or shoes or whichever they're doing, they have to do in a proper location, the commercial plazas, right? Where some people are going to be producing, some people are going to be selling with points, not with money. We are not going to have magicians of any types. It's all forbidden. Magicians, hypnotism, voodoos, spells, all these things forbidden, okay? People that know how to heal, you know, with one way or another, they can do now during these 28 weeks. But we are not teaching future generations. Forbidden to teach, forbidden to write about. You know, online, we're just going to say a very few sentences and not explaining how to do, not explaining anything. So future generations, because the problem, why I'm doing this, because some people learn how to do things, but then we don't want to give any chance for people to use those things in a bad way. So we are not teaching any of these things, okay? All right. That's already decided. Who can heal others if they are right there, even if it's in hypnotism, but for good reasons, they're going to do now during the 28 weeks, all right? Or during their lifetime, they can do for healing, you know, for healing someone now, but it's forbidden to teach, and it's forbidden, of course, to do for bad practices, okay? If a person is caught after the 28 weeks doing, or even during the 28 weeks, doing bad things, right, for others, using any of those things I already said, the person will be killed, because we are not going to send people afterwards to desert anymore. During the 28 weeks, they can go to desert. If it's after the 28 weeks, they go to electric chair, because that's the only way, you know, so people can born again. You know, because, you know, we are doing the best we can, but we need proper rules and guidelines for everyone, and for everyone to have only positive practices and help each other and help this planet and work united, work together for a better humanity. All right? Okay. Okay, so I have here some words about education, the grades for each grade level. So we have the preschool, right, for everyone up to kindergarten. And then we have the grades. So this is for the Department of Education. So elementary will be grade 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The middle school will be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the high school will be 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay? I think that's really good and reasonable. And, you know, if Andrew wants to improve, that's fine. But, you know, I think that's reasonable. So it's 4 or 5 years for each grade level. Yeah, so this way the elementary will have 5 years, the middle school 5 years, and the high school will have 4 years. So I think that's really good for now. All right, for us. Thank you. Okay, so for schools that do have a park nearby or empty land nearby, if it's not such a big street, what they can do is just close that street, right, and have the school there. You know, because we mentioned already about neighbors, you know, back neighbors, side neighbors. But if it's a park, a little bit, not too close, just get the whole place, you know. And because we can make parks afterwards, what we really need now, it's the locations for the school, where the school is going to be. So the kids and teens can be at school while, you know, we build new things. So parks, easy. Just make parks in other places. But the main thing, if the school is well built, have many classrooms already and everything, but do not have this agroforestry or place to plant their gardens, so we can use those land or even across the street. Okay, but of course, if it's an avenue, we are going to keep as a street. It does not work. We have to figure out some way for all the schools, if it's reasonable, right, for them to have this land now, already established before the organization launching day, for the organization volunteers to already get organized, already get the deed of those lands. If it's a government public park, for example, already get everything organized, because we need proper locations for all the schools. They're not leaving the schools. For us to build these walls, including this big land for these gardens and these fruit trees. That's our agroforestry. There'll be a different agroforestry in many places, but we need this to get going. All big monkeys will go to the renovation program because they're not needed. All gorillas, chimpanzees, all these things, because they're not needed in nature. The little ones fine, because they can evolve spiritually. But we do not need this. All these very large ones, we don't need anymore. Okay? And the same as bears. All the large bears, they're not needed. Okay? The only exception that I'm thinking is the pandas. So we are not getting them, but we are also not reproducing them and releasing them. Okay? Because that's not needed. What we are going to learn, in all countries, is how to bring the wind, and sometimes, like we see, some big trees fall down and renew ecosystem that way because other new trees come up, right? The wind, how to bring the wind. We have to learn those things, my friends. We have to learn to disperse seeds for fresh air, for many reasons, right? So I talk about rain. We have to also learn how to bring the wind, how to send gray clouds out when it's winter time, so people can have proper light collected, right, to become electricity from their solar panels and things like that. So the children will be going to this class. I don't know the name yet. We are going to have, but probably will be like religion class, right? That's our religion for nature, religion to learn about God practices, good positive practice related to nature. So they're going to have, maybe twice a week or so, they're going to have this class and learn on how we can use our mind, because we have to evolve spiritually. This work I'm doing because God touched my heart and told me, He sent me a message for me to do this for a better humanity, for better families and better humanity. So we have to do it. We have to learn better things, improve, have higher standards for everything we do. Okay? All right, very good. Thank you. Just touching up with the pandas because they get seeds, right? They're in high mountains, so we're not going to high mountains to be planting over the millenniums. And nature going to take care of them. If they're useful, they will stay. If we can do it with wind, nature naturally going to take care, and they won't be used anymore, so they can born as humans as well. All right? But we are not going to reproduce them, but we're also not going to kill them. Just leave them alone, okay? All right. Okay, so for satellites, as soon as we already have, right, all the imagery, they're taken out. They have 2 days notice, the ones that's possible, already bring them down in 2 or 4 days, all of them. The ones that are being used, the ones are not being used, because we have plenty of images online. We already have that, plenty. We don't need them anymore, okay? So we're not going to have any satellites, any spaceship, all of them. People need, for base that have them, they have to empty out the location, let's say, because they're not going to have 2 days. It's not needed, because all those things will be sent to recycling, and other people will be coming to get those items and send out. So, with all bases in all countries with spaceship, let's say they have 20 minutes to empty out completely the whole property, okay? And the security guards of that property will get the keys and give to the organization volunteer, that will give to someone else that will be in charge of recycling the whole place, okay? All right, and any staff, everybody needs to leave in up to 20 minutes. I think that's really reasonable, okay? So people can already have their, go home, right? They will go home, clean up their own houses. So everywhere that where's a nuclear reactor, with anything of any type, they also have 20 minutes to evacuate. In the same way, the security of that property needs to get the keys, the last keys, right, of the main entrance, and give to the organization volunteer. Because afterwards they're gonna be, in very few days, come and deactivate everything and put in a proper location. And for those that are in the ocean, for those, all this type of nuclear trash, let's say, right? We have to, all the atomic waste, right, will be checked, radioactive or nuclear waste. So they're going to be checked where they're located, how they're located, if they need, how we are going to deal with that, because that's an area that I don't know. So we have to see for the rules to be for everyone the same, and how that will be done. So that's really important, okay? How they will be kept, for how long, until they are opened up or not, and released in nature or not. So all the details. Okay, so we are going to get that organized, and I will let you know. Thank you so much. Okay, the other thing that's forbidden for people to make robots of anyways. So some people make robots for them to, even in the kitchen, to use those things, because robots are type of machines, right? But some people are making robots look like humans, right? Not only in movies, but in reality. They are making things that are not good, not possible. All of them will be deactivated, recycled, and it's forbidden to make new ones of any type, okay? Okay, and it's also forbidden to have any movie or any book, anything that talks about humans being robots, okay? So it's also mandatory for everyone to really take their inner mini speaker away from their ears. They need to get operated and take them out. Okay, everyone needs to set up their appointment. When they go to the doctor, they already make the little cut, take the thing out, or any chip on their bodies. Everyone needs to do that. So we are sure no one has any metal detector for signs, right, to do bad things, or connected to someone's computers. So all this is forbidden. People need to take this out, okay, and be disconnected at the time of notice. So people on computers that send messages for people that have inner speakers, so they're going to have all this taken out, all of this, okay? So this is very important. So people will stop receiving the messages, right, inner speakers, and also stop sending messages on the computers, people sending messages to others. So all this is going to stop. It's not needed. People need to be themselves, because people have very good hearts. They're very positive. We are humans, my friends. We are made by God. God created us for us to develop different capacities that no animal can do. Some animals are smart in one thing or another, or better in one thing or another, but to develop so many different capacities, that who can do that is the humans. So we have to be honored with this opportunity we have in our hands to give value to ourselves. We are amazing of things that we can do. So we are not going to follow machines and things that telling us on what to do. Okay, my friends, so this way we're going to renew life in a whole entire planet, right? And have a better humanity. Okay, we're doing great. Let me see what else we have here as an update. Okay, so the other thing is that for the pest control, we are going to have some recipes, because some cities, need more than others. Some rural areas need more than others, and so on. So we are going to have, I think it would be reasonable to have maybe 4 different ones, and people on their county website will be listed which ones they have to make and use themselves according to the plants they have, right? So right now we are going to have real chemicals, right? The ones that are placed far from the building, those types that are really good against termites. So termites won't come in some places are really needed. They won't come through inside the soil, right, for the wood. And as I said, we're going to have all the buildings, going to have proper, all the new buildings and the old ones that's possible have proper cement around, and the new one's going to have cement on the bottom, really thick cement. And I don't know how long the engineer is going to let us know how tall would be. Half meter base to be really strong and also wide, far from the building, so no termites will come underground. Because above ground we see if they will be walking, right? And also every building we have 1 meter of cement around the building. Why is that? To avoid water, sprinkling to it. And these cement paths will be, far as I think is the best. The engineer is going to give details on how that's going to be the best. But for the water to also, it's not going to be really straight. Going to be a little diagonal for the water to get out of the building. So this way, we are going to make very good structures against termites for future centuries and millenniums. So in buildings that are already built, I don't know, I'm not, I never studied the area, but I believe if we're going to dig a little bit around the buildings, maybe this half meter, once we cannot dig under anymore, but a half meter there, I think would be good, against those termites, and also against other ants and things like that, because people are going to be walking around and they're going to see if, after strong rains or even we're not going to have floods because everything will be built in a proper way, but when strong rain comes, for ants to also don't come over the ground, right? So there, people are going to see if anyone will try to get inside. Okay, so this way we are protected under, and also for those pests to climb over, and try to get inside. So we're gonna do that. And now during the 28 weeks, and I don't know for how long, we're going to keep, each county gonna keep those things against termites. They're chemicals, but it's okay because we're gonna put them outside and they go deep on the floor. I think we need them. I really think. So they're going to be placed outside the building. Some, I think, is about 2 meters away from the building. They have different types. So we need specialists also to see which one we are going to use of these pesticides. They're like blocks, right? I don't know the right word to say, but they're placed, I think, every year, every 2 years. So we also need specialists to see how many we are going to keep for along the years, and because afterwards we're going to have a proper environment that's going to be sustainable and hopefully won't have problems or keep chemicals, right? We're going to do everything naturally, but we have to study, figure out how to avoid those pests. And also rats, because some rats climb, right? Some farm rats climb walls, right? So we have to see all these things, because we're going to have a lot of trees but cannot be close to the building. So we have all these details that we also need to be working with the Department of Community Gardens and Agroforestry. So for composting and things like that. So we want to attract rats or any other thing like that. Raccoons, we already said, they are already on a list of being extinct. So if anyone find them, they can already kill them, bury them, and that's already decided. But for rats, we have to figure out how to avoid them. Okay, another natural idea that we can use is those pins that we put in the ground. I don't know how they're called, but they're sonic, right? And they are made with solar light. So they seem very good. It's about $5 each. So people can put around the property against mouse, gopher, rat, mole, scarer, snake, and things like that. Because the problem is not, for example, a mole. It's not the mole itself, but the mole, if a mole lives there, gonna have this hole, and then it's more likely to have other things there afterwards, so that's what we want to avoid. It's not the animal itself, but when it's close to the building, because if it's far away, it's fine, it's aerating the soil, moving around, that's fine. But the problem, we don't want any of those animals close to our buildings, and also close to our playgrounds, our structures in general. Okay, so this is important. So they call underground sonic pulses deter moles, snakes and rodents without affecting families and pets. So they're like pins, underground pins. So they seem very good for us now, okay? I think they're very good. Also, moles and rats are on extinction list. We really don't need them for anything, okay? So put those two over there as well. Thank you. The other rodent is nutria. It's also an extinction list because, it damaged the vegetation crops. Nutria destroyed the banks of ditches, lakes, and other water bodies. Of greatest significance, however, is the permanent damage nutria can cause to marshes and other wetlands, because nutria feed on native plants that hold wet land soil together. So we don't need nutria. Okay, so the only one we are keeping for now, if a specialist tell me, is the river beaver, right? Because they do things naturally, to hold water. It might be good. I don't want to just put an extinction list without a proper reason. They're small, so we keep them for now. Yeah, so I'm reading here for beavers. As an ecosystem engineers, beavers build dams which create wetlands that may in turn flood and kill trees and create snags, of which attracts insects and fish and wildlife. They also build lodges which provide homes for other animals such as muskrats, mink, and even river otters. So let's examine a little bit more about beavers. Because they make wildlife to renew, right? So on places like in big reserves, big forests, not on our communities, okay? We're not keeping beaver at our communities, but far away, so they we keep them because they make the ecosystem to renew and change. All right? Okay. Okay, so going back to those pins, solar panel pins, we need specialists to say how many each county gonna keep, because they're tiny, they're small, not tiny, small, and for how long will be useful for them, for us to keep those, because I believe that afterwards, with this environment that we want to create, with more community gardens itself and fruit trees spread around, so they're not really orchards and they're not really agroforestry. Agroforestry are more for the state parks, national parks, and things like that, that we have to still go sometimes and trim them, okay? And because we are going to be there, right, for festivals, for volunteering, as I said before, every family gonna have some shares along the year that gonna be fun, and also according to their age, their children and teens have. Okay, all right. So for this is another item that we are going to keep in deposit. I'm gonna see what sustain for how long, with the time they might break, but if we make them really, really durable, because everything we're making needs to be really, 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 really durable, okay? Because we are trying to stop the best machines as possible. And of course, if it's really needed, for things that are really needed, we're going to have factory for those items instead of keeping them on storage rooms, right? But for things that we don't need, we're not going to have machines. Of course, we need machines for cotton, that's clothes, that's really important. So maybe every 4 counties that are close to each other are gonna have those cotton fabric manufacturers, industries, right? Not industries, companies, right? With those proper machines. But we're avoiding, because we have way too many machines in our planet, so we're avoiding the best as possible. So those items are a few of them that we have to evaluate and see if we are going to keep a little, or if we are going to have those factories every few counties or so. Or counties can also share and keep sending to their own country their items by train. That we can do as well. So we're just trying to do everything in a most sustainable way. And we're going to evaluate, right? And see which of those companies, right, those machines, this type of production companies we need and we don't need, okay? Okay, the other things for roads and avenues, everyone gonna be re-evaluated, because we're not going to have cars, right? And we're going to have trucks. We're not. People will be living at their own place. They're gonna have little carts, manual carts, for them to bring the things, because some communities are way too big, right? So, and most as possible for us to have things on solar panels, right? So, for example, for everything we need, let's say water pressure washer, right? So what will be the most sustainable for each region? By solar panel, or itself with the panel right there, for all those items, or connected to a cord and get electricity that was already processed by the solar panel. So for everything, we need to see those two things, these two ways of having electricity. So the urban buses we are going to have now until everything is ready with the trams or trains. And for everything else, people will take airplanes, right? And because we don't need to go to places that have pass, huge mountains or things like that, we don't need those things anymore. People will be living at their places and move close by where it's possible until while while we still have airplanes, that's fine, but not after that, because you're not producing more tires. Okay, all right, so as soon as all these train rail roads are ready, we're not going to have urban buses anymore. They're not needed. Okay, now let's say a few words about very large roads, avenues, right? Interstates, those big avenues. So we're not going to have any very large one. How is that? Because you're going to use trains. Trains can have solar panel and work fine. Okay? So, and trams, right? So we're not going to have all this movement of so many trucks from one state to another, one city to another. None of that we're going to have, because we cannot have tires anymore. So that's how we have to think on how we will be sustainable. Okay? For the regular small roads, we can keep. Every large road and large avenue gonna be diminished. We can have some roads, okay? And after that, we don't need. So people will be walking on those pedestrian sidewalks. Pedestrian sidewalks will be 2 meters wide, okay? 2 meters wide. For families to walk properly. Inside residential communities, the road's gonna be the sidewalk itself, okay? But on the street, on the cities, we are going to keep the roads, small roads. But on the future, people are gonna be walking on them. They don't need sidewalks to be built everywhere, because we're not going to have trucks, we're not going to have cars. The main thing, we're not going to have gasoline, petroleum, diesel, nothing of that, right? Or even alcohol, because to make these other types of gas, we need big plantations of corn and other things that we're not going to have as well, because they're not sustainable, okay? The same way as the tractors, we're not going to have none of them afterwards the 28 weeks. Okay, so all large avenues and large roads are going to be diminished, and all interstates going to be closed. Okay, so the chosen avenues and the chosen, or I think chosen avenues or chosen interstate, depends on the country, right? Will be chosen to make railroad tracks, okay? So these railroads gonna bring people north, south, east and west, okay? So they can take different ones, and they're gonna be used on vacation days for people to go out and go to places, come back home, or stay in a hotel for a few days and come back home. During school year, they're gonna have just trams, a few, I'm talking about travel now, right? A few traveling trains that are nearby, because nobody gonna be going far away. So they can go to a nearby state park, because some trains or trams, they can go quite fast. So we're going to have a list for each county for people to be able to go to those locations. So in this case, just to attend state and national parks, people can we are going to have some railroad tracks that are not straight. So the straight ones, right? The straight ones for that country, south, north, west, and east, gonna be for vacation days, right? For travel days, and also for products, because we still at own country, we still gonna share a few things I was just saying earlier for this industrial sites that we're going to have. Industrial, I'm saying like that, but they're not going to be huge as before. Okay? All right, so those are the straight railroad tracks. Okay? All right. The wavy ones, railroad tracks that are wavy. Okay, so the wavy railroad tracks, I'm just using this word wavy, but they can be almost straight. So they're going to leave from those straight lines, right, stations, and from there they're going to take a tram, right, from the main train stations to go to this state and national parks. I think that's the most sustainable. Okay? All right, we're doing great. Okay, all the tires we have, I think that the most sustainable is to use for shoes. We can keep them. Every county keep them to use for shoes instead of killing animals again and have all these things. We can have for thousands of years. So much tire we have, it's easy to keep them. People, we already cut them, and have them ready to be used, to be completed as a shoes or a sandal, right? Because that I think we can really use, and it's really durable. I think we can even, when shoes are old, reuse them afterwards. Okay? All right. So that's for tires. Now, let's say a few words about grass trimmers, okay, as this one you're hearing right now here. In the same way as pressure washer, we're gonna need, because they're very useful, for some state parks, national parks, to keep the grass in some areas really low, away from where people have their festivals, where they eat, where we plant our community gardens. So we are not going to have fences, too many fences again. In state and national parks, we're going to need something, right? But these pressure washers and grass trimmers and a few other machines, we're going to see how will be the most sustainable. Have a battery, be charged to a solar panel, how that's going to be. The pressure washer is easier because people stay on that same area, right? But the grass trimmers, we don't want to use that clip that keeps breaking too much. So we have to find a way to use laminate, metal laminates that we can sharpen up over and over, and they will last for a long, long time. Okay, so now let's talk about state and national parks for their community gardens, okay? So they have animals, and there always will be, right? Animals there, small animals, and we're not having any large mammals anymore. We already talked about that, only very small ones, okay? So for each area, we're going to see if they're really needed for the environment, we can keep. Otherwise, they already can put an extinction list because they're not needed. Okay, because we're going to focus on having small ones. So for countries that can have small monkeys, for countries that can have small mammals, okay? And if they look good, then they're not going to be put on extinction list. Okay, so for these gardens, we have to figure out what way will be the most sustainable, not for a decade or two, but for millenniums, right? So I think that the best idea is for us to have cement walls, maybe like a meter or so, because if we put chicken wires every few decades, we have to renew. Even people that are really careful, If we put fences, what type of fence we're going to use? Plastic, not good. So we're going to build with cement, blocks, proper bricks. I think that's the most sustainable, and that's what we're going to have. So 1 meter tall, I think, will be fine, for us to avoid snakes or country rats and things like that, right? And also, if in places that they're not, if it's a few bunnies, okay, but if it's too many, it's not good either, right? They have to grow their own food. They have to figure out themselves, because they're gonna be wild bunnies, okay? So we are going to keep bunnies. Remember, we are helping bunnies, but not inside our community gardens. This food grown is for staff members and for festivals. The food will be right there. And we already have our chickens, okay? So the chickens, we have to figure out how they are going to be. Depending on the time of the year, they can also go at the garden and eat everything they find there, So, and some places are too cold. Chickens might not go so well, but if they have a lake, we're going to have ducks there, right? So for everything, we're going to have some details for each county on what the animal for eggs can grow, right? Because hopefully you have chickens everywhere, all right? Okay, so for the community gardens, we are going to have this wall, because this wall will last forever, right? Really forever, for centuries and centuries, and it will be easy to make new ones with clay, right? Every county needs to figure out a way that if it's needed, right? But if we make with real concrete, they will last for eternity, right? Real thick, really bulk, really strong, with very strong bricks and very strong siding, okay? All right, and they can be painted with something that they already have in each county, just to look nice, right? Something natural. So some countries might have turmeric, some countries might have annatto, the seed annatto, the red seed, and this way we go, so they can paint sometimes. They can mix with some natural resin that they might have from some plants, right? And paint just to have fun, even that they will be washed out when rain season comes, but just to have fun for a festival, for example, right? Okay, so this is already decided. The gate of these community gardens will be closed all the way to the down. Will be like strong metal, for example, and closed. So the objective is this: no snakes, no rats will come in. The climbing rats we figure out on the other way that I already said, the vibration thing that we can put outside on the state and national parks, outside these community gardens as well. Okay, so that's decided. Now let's say a few words about those same state and national parks, right, for chickens. How we are going to do for chickens. All right, the chickens, we are going to have a variety of species, so parks can grow them and sometimes blend them up, so they will not always be the same flock, let's say, right? So they will be exchanged sometimes from state national parks. They're going to have this exchange of the ones they have so they can have different races and be stronger this way. And for each place, we are going to figure out how they're going to be free range, because they have to be free range. We already talked about that. How we are going to keep them during winter time in places that snow. That's something else, right? An addition. So, because cold for cold, that's fine. They can handle. They're going to get used to it, like in the same way we are going to get used to it and have good immune system for that, right? We're going to eat healthy and practice, right? And keep running, keep walking for them as well, right? They have to listen to the ones that take care of them. So if they have some extra seeds sometimes, wherever they have, for them to chase that person, and be learning how to go to different areas that are safe, because we don't want all of them to be killed, right? So for every state and national park, gonna have these little details and gonna be stated, the definition gonna be stated at the website and cannot be changed. All our websites, they will be formatted in a way that at the end of the 28 weeks, when all additions will be made, no one anymore, no university teachers have any other proposal, and everything is already decided. All the websites cannot be changed. Okay, so for each state and national park, what's decided will stay that way. So the chickens will stay in separate in determined areas, and then by the end of the day, 4 or 5 o'clock, they have to come in, right? So they can eat and go rest until the next day they're released again to take sun, fresh air. We have to have different species, right? I just don't know yet the exact which types, because I look online, there are so many, but we need the ones that are foragers. That's our main need for state and national parks, for them to keep killing, right? Eating, little snakes and things like that. That's very important. And we also need dogs during these 28 weeks to be searching up, for burrows of snakes and to chase them up and call the workers to go, to capture them. Okay, the other thing for state parks are this sound wave, for rodents. That's also good against the snakes. So how many we're gonna put in those parks, because we want to have snakes extinct for real, right? So we can use these things as well, because they will last forever. Just have to see where we're going to put, so nobody will step on them or break them and things like that. So probably they will be very close to trees, and checked and cleaned often. So we need to know exactly where they're located. We're going to have a map. So let's say 2 different maps, right? They clean and put in the same location or in another location. So they clean, check, and because so the snakes won't be used to know where the sounds are stronger and where they're weaker, right? So we need 2 types of maps to put these pins, the wave sound pins, so they keep moving, right? So the animals really never will know exactly. The snakes will never know where they're located, and rodents. Okay, so the other thing that we need for the state parks are areas for the festivals. There for the festivals, we need the native grass that do not grow, right? Because that will be the most sustainable. So during the time we have tractors, we are going to take every old grass away, weeds, right? Clean up these areas where people are going to be, right? And in different areas, right? For the festivals, for visitors, in different places, margins of rivers, because we cannot have tall grass besides rivers, beside lakes. So everyone is mandatory to plant the native grasses that are short, up to 10 centimeters. I think that's the most sustainable, because if you go to 20, it's already too much. Mostly by the margins of river, we have to take them out really well, clean every root so they won't come back, right? We have to make a good work, and keep pulling. The new ones that will come after the tractor pick up the most, right? We need workers to keep cleaning over and over, and then plant the plaques of native grass that the own residents, the own workers of that each county gonna plant, right? So not to put one beside the other, but to have a lot around margins of rivers on this way. Of course, we also can have plants, real plants, aquatic plants. That's different. What I'm saying is we cannot have weeds, tall weeds or tall grass, these types of grasses in general, close to margins of rivers. So we see what's going on. The parents, gonna come with their children, they can see. There's an alligator there, is nothing there. And of course, every park needs to have their proper signs of animals they have and animals they don't have. So for the parents to be aware. And every park, every state and national park gonna have a small video showing everything. Safety first, right? For them to learn and to be really clear with images of animals that are found or whichever it is, or a slippery area, or if the lake is deep or not, things like that, okay? So they will check. It's mandatory for them to make a reservation to go to that park, that festival, that visit, a weekend visit or a vacation visit. They have to see this video for every state and national park. They're going again and again the same year. Doesn't matter. They have to watch again. Okay? Let's say at least after 10 times, let's say they have to watch because some people live really close by. Right? And some state and national parks are just awesome, right? So let's say they, for future years, after they watch 10 times, the whole family on the cell phone watch 10 times, every family member, so they have to watch twice a year. I think that's reasonable, okay? For them to keep going. So if they go twice, they have to watch twice. But if they're going for future years more than twice, then they don't need to watch that video anymore. And on the other year, in the following year, the same thing, at least twice. I think that's good, right? Might be very tiring for some people that live close by, but it's okay. They can find other parks to visit, right? Okay. And every city and county parks, they will have this video as well. All right, but let's finish about this first. Okay, so we talk about the spins for rodents, right? And the grass for rivers, right? This native short grass for rivers and lakes. All right, and the beaches, because some parks are right at the beach, and we cannot have as well because things that are too tall, if they are too close to the beach. A little far away, it's fine, right? Because they attract wildlife in the same way. Okay, so now let's say a few words about areas for the festival. So what we need is, we need a few areas for people to sit and talk, right, where the picnic tables are. We are going to have playgrounds for the children, all made in wood, natural wood, and for the slide to be really well sanded. All this wood will be hardwood, so they can last for many, many decades. What else? And of course, they also have to plant hardwood for future playgrounds, for future needs. Okay. So we also need areas to dance, circle dances, areas to make presentations, a little higher stage, right, made out of wood for people to do their performance, because some schools can also have some schedule some presentations. Schools nearby and the parents that sign up can go on that day, right? We can do this as well, the same as the city, county parks for these festival days. Okay, so what happens is that we're having those free areas. Those free areas also need short ground cover, right? Short, native, very strong ground cover. The people can walk in it, right, up to 10 centimeters. I think that's really reasonable. Some countries I've seen in Brazil, they're quite short, some of them, right? People can walk. They're very, very strong, durable, very strong roots. They're not blended. They're really tight up together. So that's what we need, because if new seeds come with the wind, we're gonna have less work picking them up. So just that species will stay really well in those areas. Okay? All right, so there are different species, and all the species going to be listed. That's possible. And we need different parks with some different varieties. We cannot have just one variety, because if one of them have a problem in future centuries, what are we going to do? So we need different areas of that same park with one very strong species here, another very strong species over there. So this way we have opportunities if needed on the future. We have other varieties. So every country of the whole planet need different varieties. 4, 6, or 8 varieties. Okay, we need that. We really need. And also some varieties that will be in a testing period, right? So if in other countries of that same region, if they have them, okay, so let's try, right? See what they need on the soil, what type of compost the park workers gonna be putting on them until they really become strong and sustainable themselves, right? But we can add things, that's fine. We're going to have a lot, of scraps after festivals, and gonna be workers helping, and the fruits when they're cut, right there, they already cut the leftover peelings, right? So this way the compost will be much easier. Instead of putting whole pieces of bananas, for example, papayas and everything else, whole, the whole slice out on a compost. No, they already cut right there and put on a compost already in small squares, right? Rectangles, little pieces, right? Okay, so that is the free areas. So just in a few words, free areas are for people to do their dances, for stages, picnic tables, and for people to have fun, right? Be close to their playgrounds, area for them to run, do things like that. And after that, areas according to what each state and national park, also city and county parks, need everything else I'm saying here, because they're going to have festivals as well. All right, so they also need those areas, and according to their reality, okay, that's specific things. The organization volunteers that live nearby are going to make a proposal for those needs, those areas, free areas. Okay, free areas are not going to be together to each other, because many people will be visiting the parks, on vacation days and also on festival days. All right, so what we have to do? We have to plan ahead, okay? And even the chickens can come to those locations before the park. So they're sure that no tiny snakes are there, no tiny scorpions and anything like that we, don't want. So they come around and eat that area. So basically it's that. Every new grass to each park, each location, gonna be have their proper reports done. The grass that they already have in the area and the new ones. We need, because this is a very important study for us. Kids at school, all grades, going to be learning things for life, and this is one of the things they're going to be learning. What type of grass, what they need on a soil to be strong and healthy, which ones can survive well with half shade, which ones need full sun, all these details they have to learn. We're going to learn at the 2-year course as well, but children, they're going to start learning all these things when they're little. And give value to it, and plant also for their schools and things like that. So please add that same thing to the education department. Okay, this update, they need to learn these things as well. In the same way, we're learning for food that we need and things that we need for updates, right, for the future years to survive. The cotton, other types of fiber that will be used for clothing, for shoes, right? We need types of fabric, so the children are going to start learning right at school. Age appropriate, right? They learn a little bit when they're little, learn a bit more, and then at high school they're going to know really a lot. Okay, so for city, county, state, and national parks, about done, right? Oh, I have another idea. For some parks, chickens, right? Because chickens gonna be in a way that will be really specific to each zone and also area, right, of predators such as hawks and things like that, and also the environment they have, because we want the chickens to go a little bit in the woods, right? So you have to train them on how they will follow you with the seeds. If you have extra seeds, right, that are planted, the community can, the own workers of the parks will plant and have those seeds along the years, a blend of them, right? So they have to plant according to what they harvest, and so they can see even from the gardens, right? From the gardens. There are many plants that if we let them grow old, right? I forgot the word right now. They will also give seeds, okay? So those seeds will be gathered, right, to have a blend, a mixture of different nutrients for our chickens. We have to see that our chickens need to be well cared for. We have to say hi to them, not to fall in love. No, it's not that. We learned that this is not good for plants. We don't fall in love with plants, don't fall in love with trees, don't fall in love with animals, right? No, we fall in love with every person with their own partner, and then when they get married, their own spouse. That's what we do, right? And of course, as parents, love to their children, right? But as they grow up, we get independent and not attached to them. The chickens the same way. We have to take care of them, see that they're well fed, they have enough nutrients, they're going to be foragers. But you have to train them, because when you need them, they are going to follow you to the area you want, right? Okay, so how they're going to work? So you go with them, bring the seeds close to the woods, right? And then you make a type of whistle that they will come right to you. Okay, and then next day again, and keep going and a little bit more, dance in the woods and call them right away, right? You have to train them. So they will eat ticks, they will eat small snakes, they will eat everything they find, creatures that are not good, because the good insects that we want are the other ones from the list, right? But what they find there, it's important for them. Going to be a source of protein, source of different minerals, vitamins for them to eat things that they find, seeds and also insects. Okay. The other way that for some parks might be a good idea to have removable enclosures. Not with roof, because we can even have a worker couple sitting there. That's fine. They can sit, talk, study, right? We have plenty of people that need jobs, need points, right? So for hawks and things, okay, so how to scare them away? Put the chickens inside if needed, right? Or how that will be done, okay, in a sustainable way, how that will be done with hawks. You know, are we waiting for them to come down and try to get the hawk, or we are trying to do the other way around, bring them inside and next day put them out again in another area or something? We have to figure all these details out and have written down what is sustainable for every country and what is determined for each area. Okay, so you're training the chickens, you're sure they're well fed, they have a very clean environment, because you're going to need many workers on those 4 types of parks, right? Because we need chickens in all of them. We're going to have fruit trees. What happens? Fruit trees, we have to gather those fruits, use the fruits, right? Those workers can bring the fruits home. If they cannot last enough time for the festival, we can do that as well, because we can freeze a few, right? But we're not going to have many freezers at any park because that's not sustainable. So the workers can bring little bags home. That's fine. And at home, they can share their neighbors, right? People from their building, or they can have in a way like that, because they're going to have many fruit trees. And of course we need to see the fruits that will be a variety of them to be good for the environment, right? Because every different variety, we know, attract different insects, attract different wildlife, but also which fruits we are going to use for the festivals. Okay, because as I said, we're not freezing them. Have a regular refrigerator with a little bit, that's okay. But we're not freezing for the festival. We're eating fresh fruits, nuts, seeds, different things. So we have to see how we are going to do that so people can have their food. Families, we already said, they come in the morning or in the afternoon for the festivals. They cannot stay the whole day, because many families will be going, and we don't want parks that are crowded. They have to sign up ahead. Each park have a total capacity of visitors. They have to sign up ahead and watch the video I said also ahead. All right, a few more words about chickens. So we have to see that their homes, that we are going to call chicken houses. We are not going to call chicken coops, because that doesn't sound so right. Okay, so the chicken houses are clean. They can get the eggs from those chickens. How many will be already placed for them to raise their chicks? Okay, males are never going to be killed. They're going to be raised, and people can eat them, right? The park workers can eat them on their meals, and they can also bring home. They kill there and bring in this plastic, very strong plastic, like Ziploc bags, right? Transparent Ziploc bags can be used over and over for a long time, okay? Or in transparent plastic containers, that maybe we can use that as well. They can bring it home. Okay, so you have to see all these details for the chickens to be well fed with nutrition, with vitamins, with minerals, that they are not stressed, that they are happy. What's gonna be done during the winter time in some other countries. And in some other countries, they're burning hot, so they need shade, right? So they can eat, forage, and also have plenty of water and shade. Okay, so we're doing fine. In all those parks, we need them well hydrated, because remember, we're not keeping them inside enclosures, right? It's not an animal farm, it's parks. So they have to be free range, and they need water. So what would be the most sustainable way for those chickens to have water that's easy for the workers to wash everywhere? Educational sites, residential communities, that will last for a long time, but mostly that's easy to wash, because they need to be washed, I think daily or every other day. Depends how many chickens. I think daily, right? Get the students to wash at schools, and at the parks the workers going to be doing this job, and put clean water for them, because that's very important. In places that need, we can also give things that has water in it, such as some vegetables, right? We can grow in parks and everywhere. This chicken thing actually is part of the Department of Community Gardens and Agroforestry. That's for everyone, right? Oh, excuse me. So because everyone will have chickens, right? With rare exceptions. Maybe very cold areas that might be better to have ducks, but I don't know yet. Because the ducks won't eat the bugs in the same way as chickens will do. We can even have both, right? We can even one for bugs and one for eggs. So let's see. That's another thing we have to see. Which species give eggs most along the year? So we have to see. So if you have different types, different species, right? So some will be foragers for the bugs of the nearby areas. The other one's gonna be for egg production. Okay, so I heard before, I don't know if it's true, but the person that brings the chickens inside, like 5 o'clock, for them to eat and go to bed, right? Instead of eating during the day, in the middle of the day, because they will spend energy. So this way they will keep more. We have to make some studies, have professionals in the area, good veterinarians, to say some words about that. But we have to examine that as well. When to feed them? Are we going to do morning and evening? Even for dogs, we have to study all these things to have rules and guidance for every little thing. So when will be the most appropriate? On summertime and on winter time. Water needs to be available at all time. But imagine, if those chickens are in hot burning days, during the whole day, free range, they're going to lose a lot of water. They're going to be pretty skinny. So we have to see all these details. If they have enough food, what type of water for them to keep hydrated. All right? Okay, we're doing really great. So for chicken enclosures, I thought maybe if we have, for example, removable easy fences, that's easy to carry. The workers or the students of the school get that big enclosure and carry them, maybe 10 by 10, but I don't know what type of material would be the best. Okay, so they keep moving in certain areas, in only, of course, in places that are really needed. Okay, that are really needed. Because some places I'm sure we can control them naturally. They can forage around themselves and have some seeds when is needed. The other study we have to see is the bugs along the year. So bugs in winter time and in summertime might be very different. So we have to have extra seeds reserved for them prior for them to have good nutrition along the whole year. Some countries might be the winter time, and some countries the opposite, might be the summertime, that they will need special things added to their diet, because bugs gonna be more often on summertime. But is that enough or not? Things like that. Okay, so now let's say a few words about lakes. So that's very important for the lakes everywhere to also have rules and guidelines. Okay, lakes, let me say the rivers as well. Okay, so both of them also need that type of grass for the margins, right? Native grass or adaptive native grass. That's the words we are using for now. For them to have along the whole lake, along the whole river, different species to see which ones thrive, and also because they are going to attract different insects. Which one has flower, which one does not, which one will be better for that specific environment. So we will have written down at each county website specifics about the proper species we are going to plant on those places. All right, so we're doing this, right? Okay, so after that, we're going to see the plants, the flowers, the trees, the bushes, right? What we need, how far from the margin. Some places already rain too much, some places do not. Which grass would keep well in case it floods, like some centimeters will be covered, during summertime. and which places don't have that problem. So all these details we have to see for each county. So as I said before, we need the rule for all countries the same, the basic rules, and then all these details for each county. Also for each county varieties, because some counties might have some lakes that are connected to to bigger streams, or even springs, right there. They have more volume of water in the same county. Maybe another one does not. So we also have to see these details, okay, on how we are going to proceed with the details for rules and guidelines for each county. Okay, so for the lakes, we have some details about the aquatic plants, okay? For the aquatic plants, we're going to also make a study to also have varieties on state and national parks and schools, every lake of all types. And also for margins of rivers, which one we are taking everything out and where it's appropriate to plant a few to avoid the margins to be broken and things like that. So this is very important, all these details for lakes and rivers. We're also gonna have organized which ones we can eat and which ones we cannot eat, because some of them are holding the margins of rivers and lakes, right? And some of them would be okay. How dense, how many they need to be for us to eat them, because some are quite good, right? Some are edible, eatable. That's the new word we are using, is eatable. So some of them we can use the roots, some of them, other things. I don't know. We have to, depends the country we are at. But they will also list which ones we can eat or not, and how much we can eat or not. Okay? So we are very well organized with all these details as well. Okay, my friends, so here we have some for now, right? And I think it's really good. And see you soon. Okay, going back a little bit, I have to say that we are going to have trucks now. I believe, I don't know until the time, but because they need wheels, all these things I talked to you, right? But we need trucks to make deliveries, right, at residential communities for the food for now, not only the 28 weeks, but I believe a little bit. No, 28 weeks enough, yes, okay. The other things that are coming from other counties, right, they're going to come on trains, right, because you're not going to have huge items that need these huge trucks anymore. Okay, so they're going to come on trains, and then I just don't know exactly how we are going to transport them in a reasonable way. But I guess some solar panels, cars with trailers maybe, I don't know, connected to it, not two pieces, but connected to it to make the delivery of the stores that will sell them. So, for example, because we still need construction items, right? Paint. We still need, every country need to be sustainable to do their own, find their way. We have to do that, right? And for items that will be not used too much, but they will be used somehow, right? Things that break at the house, we cannot have houses broken in a few decades. We cannot, that's not our way. We need things to keep being manufactured, the ones that break more often and the ones that can be kept in storage, we're going to keep, right? But we still need those things. All right, so now let's say a few words. So those items will be distributed, So those items will be distributed from the train stations until these stores in the city, okay, with solar panels. And I guess we're going to need some tires for now, unless somebody has a better, more reasonable, more sustainable vehicles, Okay. Okay, so the items that are possible, will combine 2 or 4 counties and share among themselves products made. And a few that will be shared for the whole country. So we also have to list which one's gonna be for a few counties combined to produce and which one's gonna be for the whole country. Things that need more machinery, like refrigerators, right? Things that people gonna ask them just sometimes, very rarely, because they're gonna last for a few decades, right? But we still need to produce those things that are important for us. Or instead of this regular refrigerator, if we are going to use the type of I don't know, another type of cooling system, because some countries are really burning hot, and or people gonna make their food and eat at the same moment. Like have pressure pans for beans. That's another idea, because then they will cook the right amount for their family, eat and done. Then we won't need refrigerators. But then, if we are depending on those ice to cool down rooms, for the idea of these coolers, that the one of these boys made, right, for the AC, like instead of AC, have these little coolers to cool down the rooms with ice. So then if you don't have refrigerator, we won't have those small freezers. So we have to see, about refrigerators, how we are going to do, which way will be the most sustainable. Because if we have the ice, and if the walls are really well done, people, gonna be very sustainable. If they travel, they're not going to be that long that the house gonna be medium. But we have to avoid all these things on places that are too wet, too damp. So which practice they can do? Or if we're going to have regular AC machines and clean the ducts and everything, that they're needed, and produce them too. So for all these little details that we still need, these appliances, we have to see which one will be the most sustainable and most positive for all countries. And then we need a list, and as soon as it's decided, and then that will stay forever. So it's very important for professionals of all areas see what we're writing, okay? Because they will have 28 weeks to make any addition to it, any proposal for us to examine. And if they make a proposal that their own headquarters assistant team of that area deny that proposal, they can still make the proposal to the state. If the state also denied, they can write to the country headquarters, but they have to follow those steps first. And if also was denied and the person still believes, and then they can send an email to the headquarters assistant teams in the United States. Okay, but they have to follow this proper procedure, because it's going to be hundreds of people with proposals, right? But we want to get the real professionals. The professionals are the headquarters assistant teams that we're going to have. Okay, all right. But during these 28 weeks, it's important for us to have a way to listen everybody. Because as we know before, right, some people, they don't take care of details. But if the person applied to all of them, then it's okay. They can send a proposal and to the headquarters assistant team in United States. The other thing is that the proposals are not only for the international constitution, right, that we're going to print at the end of the 28 weeks, but also proposals for the 28 weeks while it's happening. So the person see that what is written is really perfect, but not for their region, their country, the county they live, they can make their proposal, right? Because we don't want people to be doing their own thing. we are going also to have all details and everything is needed for the 28 weeks. But who knows? We have a huge planet, right? With many, many varieties in environment and animals and plants and food and, many different things, okay? So it's important. Even that seems perfect, but not for their area. So they need to send a proposal, okay? Every university needs to have a team, a headquarters assistant team, right? A simple one, right? For them to hear their students, hear their teachers, evaluate things before they send to the headquarters assistant team of their county, because some counties have a few universities, right? We're going to divide them the best as possible. They're so overpopulated that they already have built quite a few universities, right? So it's important, and we are going to choose one, only one per county, one university, right, per county to be the headquarters assistant team of the county for each need. So also some assistant teams gonna be only for the 28 weeks that they need to complete everything, do their reports by this time. Other ones gonna be in different years according to what it is, because some, we need a little longer time, and some will be 2028 and some will be 2040 and some will be permanent headquarters assistant teams, okay, that they will communicate online while we have computers, and along the centuries they're gonna be just themselves in charge for those practice, because we're not going to have internet and computers in the future, right? Okay, I think we're doing great. Or maybe we find a way to have computers along millenniums as well. Make very strong and durable ones, and that they won't break, because if they're basic, and have these basic things that we really need, without all these details, without spywares, without people in purpose trying to make bad things, oh yeah, they can last for hundreds of years, right? And if we take care of them as well, right? So that will be good. All right, okay, thank you so much. So our work is to try to have internet and computers along history as well. Now this one is for the Department of Education, but we also need to practice all learning system with outside learning games and with the printed binders we have, right? These folders, big folders, right? Flipping chart, let's say, for teachers to teach along history, that every 500 years they're going to have a new one. Why is that? Because in case we don't have computers anymore, internet, teachers will keep teaching everything using those methods. Okay, so let me say a few words. This chart, these long papers that people use for some presentations, so that's how we're going to print. Because in the future we are not using very large printers anymore, but for this reason we can make, I don't know exactly how much, but maybe 1 by 1, right? Needs to be a rectangle, so maybe 1 meter, 1 meter by, let's see here, 1 meter. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll give an answer about that afterwards, because some gonna be placed horizontally, right, for the drawings, for the sentence, for young children. Some gonna be already in a vertical way, right, like our notebooks for older children, essays, drawings, and a vertical. Okay, so I'm going to give an answer on that. Maybe we do horizontally for the younger children, and after that we do vertical. Or for children and teens to be practicing both ways, we can have different charts. All right, those papers, those printing papers, gonna be hooked in a very strong metal rings, maybe that's easy to flip. Okay, so they will have that class for the time that's needed, a month class, or for math, for example, for the whole year or for the whole semester, according to what's sustainable. So they won't be handling them too often. And I think they're gonna be very thick, and also like with a type of plastic, right? So they will last really forever. And won't be damaged with weather, people touching, it's easy to wipe it out in case the hand of a teacher is not so clean, because we're going to have new ones for 500 years, but who knows, we might use a set for 1,000 years. Okay, so these details we're gonna see, but they're gonna be flipping charts, because we already decided it's not sustainable for teachers to be drawing every single day on the board. Okay, so they're going to have their notebooks, right? The subject notebooks that are going to be exactly the same as their students, but they also need this flipping chart so the students can copy some. Okay, we're trying to see for drawings, for teachers drawings, they're going to make themselves one as well, right? But depending on what they have at their community, that's easy for them to use, and also sustainable for color, or if they have chalk, right, material to make chalks, what they have. So these details I will let you know afterwards. Okay, my friends, so thank you so much for your cooperation, and I see you soon. Have a great and blessed day. All right, so let's sing together. Okay, which song we're going to sing now? Because we need to be happy and enthusiastic and do our work with a lot of good and positive energy. All right, subscribe right now. This is really important, okay? All right, let's sing that. It's a beautiful day, it's a beautiful day. Come, come and sing with me. Come and plant with me. Come and sing with me. Come and plant with me. It's a beautiful day, it's a beautiful day. Come, come and sing with us. Come and plant with us. Come and sing with us. Come and plant with us. So a teacher, parents can start singing that when they leave, when they go to plant their gardens, and soon after their children, teens, whichever students or at home, they sing with their parents or with their teachers. All right? Okay, have a great day.